Okay, Acecraft Sky Hero. Today we're going to be giving you a beginner's guide on it, and if you haven't seen this game already, this is a shoot 'em up style game with some roguelike stuff, a little bit of Survivor.io with grabbing the skills inside it, and it does have what they call a rubber hose kind of graphics to it, which is kind of like, imagine everybody having rubber hoses for arms and legs. But I'm not going to waste too much of your time, so let's get right into it. First thing you need to know is about the battle system. You're going to be flying a plane around, you move back and forth, you try to dodge projectiles and destroy all the enemies. Destroying the enemies will take you into the next wave. Now, some of the actual bullets that'll get shot out will have a pink color to it. Letting your finger off of it will allow you to suck it in, and this is what kind of goes and fills up your special skill. Now, don't think just because it's pink, you don't have to dodge it. If you're not sucking it up, you can still take a hit from it. And if you don't end up killing an enemy, they'll make it to the bottom of the screen and reappear on the screen. It's not going to hurt you or anything if you do miss them. Just keep in mind that sometimes when they do go to the bottom, they'll come back up from the bottom. And that's the same thing with projectiles too, so don't think if anything's below you that you're technically safe. Now, depending on which pilot you go in with, you'll be starting off with two main attachments, and that's going to be specific for the pilot. If you're far enough in where you can go and have a revive with a second one, then they'll have different main attachments. Still, if you got upgrades on one, it'll carry over to the other, but this is where the whole Survivor.io thing kind of comes in with the Evos. Going and maxing out one of these main attachments and finding the matching plugin with the Evo underneath it will allow you to take this up to the next level, make it more powerful. Given that we do have two additional main attachment spots and 4 of those plugins, you really want to try hard to make sure that all of the Evos for those plugins match up with your main attachments. I myself, I like to always focus on the main gun to begin with and the fact that that's doing a majority of the damage, and then I will kind of work on this special skill after that. As you go up in levels, you'll be able to increase your modify section, and this will unlock more of those skills and even make some of them stronger. Now, unlike a lot of the other games, you won't be seeing any type of like heal things pop up on the board. So if you see one of those hearts, don't go towards it. That's not going to be doing you any benefit, but there actually is a skill inside there that every single time you go and level up, you'll get a small portion of health. And I usually do try to get this because I'm not the greatest at this. I'm a little bit better than the average player, but I'm no pro and I'm constantly taking hits. So that might not be a bad idea if you see that early to go on and pick it. But if you're on the final stage about to go into the final boss, definitely something you want to avoid, in the fact that we need that every level up to go and get that extra health. So currently in the game, there's 10 pilots, there's 4 S grades and 6 A grades. The S grades are pretty freaking awesome. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But as far as once you go and unlock your second one, you'll be able to bring that in with you. They won't fight side by side. When one dies, the other will come in. And then I think once I got around like chapter 4, that's where I had the option to bring in the third one. Each one of those pilots, though, has the option to equip 2 wingmen, and these are just kind of parts you can throw on to do different things. You can go and click on the stats on them to see what they actually do. They're the little icons or the little fidget things that are sitting next to my plane. But some of these wingmen will actually have specific elemental traits, and if you go and look on the top of every single one of your hero, you'll see like a yellow, red, green, or blue. That's going to be their elemental type, and going and pairing one of these wingmen up with it will give you some extra boosted stats for it. When you get far enough in the game, that's where the Tesseract tab opens up, and there's a whole nother game mode for that, but it's another way to kind of go boost your stats by getting these gems. You get 4 matching ones, and you kind of get an ultimate stat out of it. So with these pilots, when going and pulling on the banners for them and you unlock it, you'll first go and just be able to use that pilot. If you happen to get a duplicate copy of it, it's going to turn into one of these amplify cards. You go over here to kind of this badge thing, upgrade that, and then it just gives you some more stats and skills. But as far as which one of these pilots you should try to be going after, there's actually 4 different tabs. The first one's going to be kind of a generic one where you won't be able to get Tom or Jerry from, and then you have the Tom and the Jerry one. Both of them, let's say you're going and pulling for Tom, you could actually get Jerry inside there, but the drop rates are a little bit less than that, so majority of the time you're probably gonna be getting a Tom. So we actually have 3 of them where we can go and get pilots, and then the 4th one is going to be Honk's Depot. That's going to be where we can go and get some of these wingman parts. Oh, and every one of these things that you're pulling on here, if you're not getting a pilot or a wingman, you'll end up with a piece of gear. So for the regular pilot recruit, you can get both Joey and Elsa out of it. I tend to like Elsa a little bit more of being a straight shot, where Joey is going to have a spread. So as far as between Tom and Jerry, I'm more of a fan of Tom on this one. I feel like he hits harder. You can see this is the normal animation of the shot here. The stunt is going to be when you suck in those pink ones, and this is what it looks like. It's going to kind of shoot out a barbell. It's going to come back at you. The ultimate on this, though, is a little bit weird, where it's going to go and just suck all the projectiles in. There's a limit to how many you can suck in, but it's going to go in anything that passes through an enemy will obviously do damage to them. The nice part about Tom, though, is there is the passive, where you just kind of have dynamite all over the board. The enemy flies into it, and then they end up exploding. But as far as Jerry, this one's still incredibly good. I think this probably has the best ultimate inside the game, which still benefits Tom. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the big thing is we're going to shoot out a couple of olives. When we go and suck in the pink things on it, it's going to launch out a pie. Now, every 3 of these pink things that we launch out is going to give us a fruit that we can toss out. And it's kind of like a tracking fruit. These are very strong. We need to go and get 4 of these things in order to go and start our ultimate. And it seems like you can only hold 3, so you make sure you're using one of these fruits before you get to the final boss, so you can go and hang on to the other 3, use that ultimate, and then crush out some big numbers. But the way this is going to benefit Tom with Jerry's ultimate skill there is in each one of your heroes, you have the support down on that 5th tab there. We can go and link this up with the matching hero for it, or matching pilot, and they'll be able to use that skill of the other one like every 120 seconds. So if you had to ask me, I would probably go and pull Tom over Jerry, but that's just my personal preference. I did get Jerry first on it though, but I would at least make sure you have both of these unlocked, and actually all 4 of those S-grade ones, before working your way over to the Honks Depot. And depending on the hero or pilot you like better, you can then decide which one of those wingman parts you're going to go after. You can actually do the switch on it here and select which one of those 2 you want to go for. Now, real quick, as far as some of the purchases in here, once you go and unlock Tom or Jerry, you'll unlock the Path of Growth for whichever one you unlocked, and depending on how many copies you get of it, you'll unlock extra lines. So the fact that I only have 1 of them of each, I only have that first line unlocked. I am currently probably about $100 into this, just so I can unlock everything, test it all out, see how good things are. But one of the things people might squawk at here is going to be $15 for the ad-free. It is permanent, you do get gems every day, but $15 can be a little pricey. But if you're serious about this game, I definitely say it's something you want to go for. The monthly pass, never a bad deal. If you just spent $15 on that, what's an extra 5 on that thing? But I'd probably say the other best deal inside the game is going to be one of the growth funds. Just know that if you do go and buy the deluxe one, you don't get the premier one. You'll need to purchase that one separately. But depending on how much you spend, you can also see there's the cumulative recharge, and this is just kind of a way to say, hey, as you spend more, you unlock these couple of rows and get some more stuff out of it. Oh, and before I forget, depending on how many times you're pulling on that Tom or Jerry banner, there's also the little total rewards up top, which has power cubes. We can go over and use it in that honk one there to go and pull wingman parts. But I don't think you need me to tell you everything you can buy inside the game, but just know that growth fund is a good one, and also that ad-free is probably another good one too. Now let's talk about the gear here, and I think they might have rushed this one a little bit too fast, because every single piece of gear for, let's say, the armor, for example, is all going to have the exact same stats of collision damage on it. So regardless of which one you decide to pick, they're all going to do the same thing. I don't know if they were planning on making everyone to have like a little elemental difference on it, but for me, they all appear to be the same. When it comes to merging this stuff, it really starts changing once you get it up to epic or the purple on it, and going and having 2 matching epics of the same class there. So let's say 2 armors, they'll allow you to go and take it into a +1. Now, when you want to go and take it to +2, we'll need to take that +1 and then just take 2 regular epics to go and merge it into that point. That'll get you a +2, and then finally to take it up to legendary, we'll need to have 2 matching items that are a +2. So figure 8 epics of the same class will go and get you up to that legendary. As far as upgrading the gear and putting levels on it, you're not actually upgrading the gear, but you're more upgrading the slot. So figure your ring slot is going to have the same level regardless of whatever piece of gear you throw in there. At first, I would just start upgrading these things as much as you can on whatever you can, but then I would start focusing more on the key and the ring first, and then work on your armor and leggings second. In other words, with everything inside this game when it comes to upgrading stats, focus on your attack first, then your HP, leaving your defense for last. But you may have noticed we got the Modify tab on this here, and depending by your player level, based by how much experience you get from beating stages and whatever else, missions, things like that, this is where you can come over here, pump into your attack, HP, and defense with gold on this base tune-up side, and then the super tech side will require some special materials, but this is where you're going to unlock attachments or new in-game skills, and then there's ways to unlock them, and then also increase how much damage those are going to do based by the tier of that super tech. We do also have the manual inside here, and these are going to be skill trees to kind of go and upgrade. Once again, focus on attack, then HP and defense, but you will need to go and max out each of those 3 tiers before you can get that next one up. So there's not going to be anything of like leaving this sitting at 1 out of 12 and skipping over things. You have to hit up all the whole row in order to advance to the next slot. But the normal one, that was kind of, I think, from going and beating stages, you get the medals from that. The amplified, that's going to be when we go and get copies of a hero or pilot, and then we can go and we get one of those every time. So that's how we upgrade that one. And then same thing with wingman. As you unlock those and as you upgrade them, I believe you'll be getting medals for those. For upgrading those wingmen, you'll just have to get duplicate copies of them. I don't think there's like increasing the rarity of it. I think you either get a legendary or get an epic, but as you can see, we have this one at 2 stars, and getting one more will take it to 3. Inside the menu section, there is a friend section, and you can supposedly play co-op on this. I haven't tested that one out myself, but there is missions in here for going and sending and receiving and making friends, so that's something you do want to make sure you do. Even if you don't know the person, at least get some in there. Inside the settings, this is where we have redeem code. I believe there's 3 of them currently. I'll try to put them in the pinned comment if I remember, but this is where you would go over and enter them. And this is also where you're going to have the backpack, so if you get anything, you're not sure what it does, you can come over here, click on it, and kind of see what it was that you grabbed if you do have any issues with, you don't know where something goes. As far as your flight log, this is kind of like your daily task. Make sure you're coming over here every day, completing all those to open up those chests. And then the achievements, these are kind of a big one too, and the fact that there is experience inside here, which is going to help you get those extra levels, which can prevent you from going and playing certain boards if you're not a high enough level. So just keep that in the back of your mind. For events, we do have this whole Claudia Aces right now, and as you see down the bottom here, this is going to be based by where you ranked of how far you got and how fast you got there. So right now, I am number 1 in a lot of these, and then the last one there, the Witch's Manor, that's chapter 5. So I just got to beat the first stage in that, and then I'll get entered in this. Depending by when this thing ends, it looks like everybody's going to get the gems divvied up between them there, based by who's sitting inside those different 4 things down the bottom. As far as I think on it, game's still new, so I haven't seen that portion yet. As far as the fishing though, this is pretty straightforward. You come over here, you go, you hit the fish, you grab some stuff, then we can come over here to the fest shop and go and redeem some of the goods inside here. Not really certain what I'm going to get yet on it, but we'll just kind of see once we get closer to the end and how much we have. We do also have a fest sign-in. If you do start late on this, you might start on like the 5th or 6th day. You can go back to the previous day, watch an ad, and unlock it that way, or you can use gems. So don't feel like if you are starting this game late, you're missing out on those because you can still acquire those. The 7-day carnival, we see these every day. You get some sort of quests on here. Can this be done free to play? I don't know, because like I said, we spent $105 on this, but just know that this is over here, and you do want to try to at least come in and make sure you're completing all those, because the end prize is going to be a Hell Rain here, which is a pretty nice wingman to go and get. And lastly, inside here, 7-day login. Make sure you're at least logging in once a day to come over here and click on this. The Friendship Vault, this is just a way to kind of lure people into playing the game. I'll have my link down in the pinned comment if you guys want to be friends with me and give me some free rewards out of it. The last tab down here, though, is going to be the archives, and this is just kind of like achievements based by how far progress you've made in the game. You come over here every day, see if you got anything new inside here, and you get some gems just for having that unlocked. So here's the one for the wingman right here. You can see I have all 12 pilots. You will need to go and unlock both of them on them here, and then depending on their bond level, based by their actual how many copies you get, you can go and get those extra chests in there. The monster one is a little bit trickier though, because you will see some actual chests inside here, but the kicker is you'll have to go back and play that if you didn't already get it on the first try, but you can see clear 1-5 taking 0 hits to unlock, and this will go and give you new avatars. That seems to be pretty much the thing all the way through this. Sounds a lot easier than it actually is, so I haven't tried to go and get it, but eventually we'll try to get all those unlocked. The stories is just a section that if you did skip over thing inside while playing and you want to go back and actually hear the whole story behind it, this is where you can go and play those things out. And then for adventure, these are just more little quests you can do to keep yourself occupied, of things of like going in and playing 2 different pilots. You'll go unlock these things, you'll get a little sticker here, and those will go in on your clues, and then based by how many clues you have, you can collect the chests down the bottom and get some more gems. But as you can see, we have both normal and elite on this, so there is a hard mode. I think I got that around like chapter 3 or so, but just know you'll play the game, you'll eventually unlock that, you can go back and play a harder version of it. For the collectibles, these are kind of card books. Every now and then you will get a card package as prize. You can come over here, you get these. You can trade these with your friends, so this is an easy way to go and get yourself some gems, some of those wingman cubes there. So definitely something you want to try to keep an eye on. Don't forget this is here, but it'll probably be a while before you get enough cards to be able to trade with somebody else. So let's talk about some of these other game modes now besides the main chapter. You can see a couple of extra things down the bottom here. The first one being the realm trial. So the daily challenge you see here, we go in this, there's 3 different ones. The boss rush, we can go in and actually pick out the chapter we want to play or the difficulty on it, and you're pretty much playing the 10 bosses you played through chapter 1. But you can see we also have Bullet Storm and Blue Party. These are just more game modes. They're pretty quick on them, but you definitely want to come over here every day, do them, and just make sure you're getting the extra rewards out of it. And then you can see here the element trial. This is going to be once we beat that, I think chapter 4-9. This is where we go and play another game mode. It's just going up against a boss. There was actually another game mode inside here where you're like running and doing like a run type style one where you have to keep on zigzagging back and forth and getting coins. But these are all pretty little quick things that go and complete, but make sure you're doing them every day. The Tempest Trek though, this was kind of like an endless style battle of just going wave after wave. It did stop me at one point saying that, hey, you haven't gone far enough inside the chapter, so it stopped me at 25, and it did give me the option of going and saying, do you want to just kind of hang out right here, or do you want to collect your rewards? Depending on how many waves you complete, you will get Tempest coins. You can come over here to the shop and pick out whatever goods you want out of it there. Looks like that might be some more ways to go and get copies of some of those heroes. But then as far as that theme down the bottom right, believe that unlocked at 4-6, this is where you're gonna have that coin thing I was talking about, where you're running through. Once again, more stages on it, going through, you can see here, depending on how much of the cheese you go and collect, that's where you're gonna go and get the stars, and the stars come over here, you can get the stuff out of the chest. There is also the energy reactor. We did get some currency, or I did get some currency inside there. And this is just, once again, a way you can come over here, use some of that stuff, and get additional stats on things. I do believe that these stats, though, apply only in this game mode, but still, one more thing to unlock. The Tempest Trek, though, is not unlocked, though. 10 more days on that, and there is also the Nexus Supply Station, which is just another battle pass inside here, similar to the one that we see on the actual home screen. Not the same one, 2 separate, so if you do want to get that one too, it is going to be a separate purchase. The other thing we have on here too is the Nemesis Return, and this is just kind of like a how much damage can you do a boss, and then depending on that, you'll have a overall ranking. I think this is between a bunch of servers. You can see I'm number 12 on it here, and I don't think we can actually see what server people are on, but just one more gameplay that you want to go in and do, and it was actually a lot of fun. But I think that's mostly everything inside the game. Like I said, try to get both Tom and Jerry unlocked before you're going and pushing for those wingman parts on it, and even that Elsa there too seems to be a solid pilot to have. If you can, try to push that chapter 5 just so you can get everything unlocked to be able to do stuff in it, but there's no rush on this. It's only a game, and really I think this is a lot of fun, but there's no real need to compete with anybody else. So hopefully you found this helpful. I'll have both my friend invite and those gift codes down in the pinned comment, so make sure you use those things up before they disappear on you. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.